I could see them dance every night of the week. I think they're marvelous.
They are, aren't they? But of course, just walking inside any theater gives me a thrill.
Well, it's been so lovely, Tony. I hated to have it over.
Oh, is it over? Do I have to go right away?
Not if you don't want to.
I don't.
Would you like a cold drink?
Wonderful.
I'll see what's in the icebox. Let's come along.
Oh, I'd follow you to the ends of the earth.
Oh, just the kitchen door is enough.
Why, I like you. You've done very simply, haven't you?
Yes, we didn't know whether to do it Empire or Neo-Gratian.
So you've settled for Frigidaire.
Yes, it's so easy to live with. Lucky you're not hungry, Mr. K. An icebox full of cornflakes? That gives you a rough idea of the sycamores.
Oh, of course. Why they make these bottle openers for singer midgets? I never did. Ugh, all over my coat.
I'll take mine in the glass if you don't mind.
There you are. Oh, foaming beaker.
Anyhow, it's cold.
Now, if you'll please be seated, I'd like to offer a toast.
We are seated.
Miss Sycamore, to you.
Thank you, Mr. Kirby. To you.
You know something?
What?
I wouldn't trade one moment of this evening for all the rice in China.
Really?
Yeah, cross my heart.
Is there much rice in China?
Terrific. Didn't you read The Good Earth? Well, I suppose I ought to go.
Is it very late?
Very. I don't want to go.
I don't want you to.
All right, I won't. When do you get your vacation?
Last 2 weeks in August.
I might take mine then, too.
Really?
What are you going to do?
I don't know. I hadn't thought much about it.
Going away, do you think?
I might not. I like the city in the summertime.
I do, too.
But you always go a bait, don't you?
That's right. But I'm sure I would like the city in the summertime if... Oh, you know what I mean, Alice. I'd love it if you were here.
Well, it'd be nice if you were here, Tony.
You know what you're saying, don't you?
What?
That you'd rather spend the summer with me than anybody else.
Was I?
Well, if it's true about the summer, how would you feel about the winter?
Yes, I'd like that too.
And there's spring and autumn. If you could see your way clear about those, Miss Sycamore.
I might.
I guess that's the whole year. We haven't forgotten anything, have we?
No.
Well then.
Is that you, Alice? What time is it? Oh, excuse me, Mr. Kirby. I had no idea. That is, I didn't mean to interrupt anything.
Not at all, Mrs. Sycamore.
No, Mother.
I just came down for a manuscript. And you can go right ahead. Ah, here it is. Sex takes a holiday. Well, good night, Tony.
Good night, Mrs. Sycamore.
Well, I think you can call me Penny now, don't you? Don't you think so, Alice? At least I hope so.
Oh! What's that?
It's all right, Tony. That's just Father.
Oh, this time of night?
Any time of night. Any time of day.
You know, you're more beautiful, more lovely, more adorable than anyone else in the whole world.
Don't dare me.
What? My dear, just because you're mother, all mothers are like that. Alice, and Penny's a darling. You see, I'm even calling her Penny.
I don't mean that. Look, Tony, this is something I should have said a long time ago. But I didn't have the courage. I let myself be swept away because I loved you so.
Darling!
No, wait, Tony. I want to make it clear to you. Listen, you're of a different world. A whole different kind of people. I don't mean socially or money. That's too silly. But your family and mine, it just wouldn't work, Tony. It just wouldn't work.
All right, have it your way. She can't dance. That's why they pay her all that money, because she can't dance.
Well, I don't call that dancing what she does. Oh, hello! How is the ballet?
It was finest.
Wonderful.
Hello there.
Hello.
Look, what do you people think? Ed and I just saw Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers. Do you think she can dance, Mr. Kirby?
Why, yes, I've always thought so.
What does she do anyhow? Now look, your friend stared I'm Ginger Rogers.
Essie, please.
I only wanted for a minute. Now look, Mr. Kirby.
Essie, you're just as good as Ginger Ross. We all agree.
You see, Ed.
Yeah, come on, Essie. We're butting in here.
Oh, but they've been together all evening. Good night, Mr. Kirby. Good night, Alice.
Good night, Mrs. Carmichael.
Good night. Essie, did you ask Grandpa about us having a baby?
Oh, yes. He said go right ahead.
You see, Tony, that's what it would be like.
Oh, I didn't mind that anyhow. We're not going to live with your family. It's just you and I.
No, it isn't. It's never quite like that. I love them, Tony. I love them deeply. Some people could break away, but I couldn't. I know they do rather strange things, but they're gay and they're fun, and I don't know, there's a kind of nobility about them.
Alice, you talk as though only you could understand them. That's not true. Why, every family has got curious little traits. What of it? My father raises orchids at $10,000 a bulb. Is that sensible? My mother believes in spiritualism. That's just as bad as your mother writing plays, isn't it?
It goes deeper, Tony. Your mother believes in spiritualism because it's fashionable, and your father raises orchids because he can afford to. My mother writes plays because 8 years ago a typewriter was delivered here by mistake.
Darling, what of it?
And look at Grandpa. 35 years ago, he just quit business one day. He started up to his office in the elevator and came right down again. He just stopped. He could have been a rich man, but he said it took too much time. So for 35 years, he's just collected snakes and gone to circuses and commencements. It never occurs to any of them.
Hello there, children.
Good evening, Mr. Vanderhoff.
Hello, Grandpa.
How's the weather? Looks like a nice summer evening.
Yes, it's lovely, Grandpa.
Well, I'm off. Goodbye, Mr. Kirby. I've got a date with the policeman on the corner.
Policeman?
Yeah, we've got a standing date. 12:30 every night. Known him since he was a little boy. He's really a doctor. But after he graduated, he came up to me and said he didn't want to be a doctor. He always wanted to be a policeman. So I said, you go right ahead and you be a policeman if that's what you want to be. And that's what he did. How do you like my hat?
It's very nice, Mr. Vanderhoff.
Yeah, I like it. The government gave it to me.
Oh, excuse me, I didn't know you folks was in here.
It's all right, Donald.
Reba and I kind of fancy some candy. Oh, here it is. You don't want it, do you?
No, Donald.
Thanks. Did you have a nice evening?
Yes, Donald.
A nice dinner?
Yes, Donald.
Was the ballet nice?
Yes, Donald.
Well, that's nice.
Now, do you see what I mean? Could you explain Donald to your father? Could you explain Grandpa? You couldn't, Tony. You couldn't. I love you, Tony, but I love them too. And it's no use, Tony. It's no use.
There's only one thing that you said that's matter. That makes any sense at all. You love me.
But Tony, I know so well.
But darling, don't you think other people have had the same problem? Everybody's got a family.
But not like mine.
That doesn't stop people who love each other, darling. Darling, won't you trust me and go on loving me and forget everything else?
How can I?
Because nothing can keep us apart. You know that. You must know it. They want you to be happy, don't they? They must.
Of course they do, but they can't change, Tony. I wouldn't want them to change.
They won't have to change. They're charming, lovable people, just as they are. Everything will work out. You're worrying about something that may never come up.
Oh, Tony, am I?
All that matters right now is that we love each other. That's so, isn't it?
Yes.
Well then.
Tony.
Now, I'd like to see a little gaiety around here. Young gentlemen calling and getting engaged and everything.
Well, what do I say?
Well, first, you thank the young man for getting engaged to you.
Thank you, Mr. Kirby, for getting engaged to me.
Then, you tell him what it was about him that first took your girlish heart.
The back of your head.
What?
No, it wasn't your charm. And it wasn't your money, it was the back of your head. I just liked it.
What happened when I turned around?
No, I got used to it after a while.
Oh, Alice, think of it. We're pretty lucky, aren't we?
I know that I am. I'm the luckiest girl in the world.
I'm not exactly unlucky myself. Oh dear, I guess I ought to. Good night, darling. Until tomorrow.
Good night.
It's wonderful we work in the same office. Otherwise, I'd be hanging around here all day.
Won't it be funny in the office tomorrow? Seeing each other and just going on as though nothing had happened?
Thank God I'm vice president. I can dictate to you all day. Dear Miss Sycamore, I love you. I love you. I love you.
Oh, darling, you're such a fool.
Why don't you meet me in the drugstore in the morning before you go up to the office? I have a million things to say to you.
All right.
Then lunch, and then dinner tomorrow night.
Oh, Tony, what will people say?
It's got to come out sometime. In fact, if you know a good house talk, I'd like to do a little shouting.
Yes, sir, Mr. DePinto. We did a good night's work.
That's what. 500 Black Panthers, 300 Willow Trees, and 8 dozen Junior Kitty Bombers.
Pretty good. Why, hello, Alice. Just come in.
No, I've been home quite a while.
Have a nice evening.
I had a beautiful evening, Father.